I think Apple could come out with a sneaker that would do well based on its cool. Apple's losing it a little bit, but like 4 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, Apple could have came out with a sneaker and fucking won. They were cool so they could enter, and then they innovated, which is their DNA, and then you would have said, oh my God, what are they gonna come out with next? Yeah, I don't think people are thinking enough of like who could enter, right? Use this example. Nobody was thinking about Sony as a video game competitor to Sega and Nintendo until they were.
Interesting.
Nobody was talking about Microsoft as a video game competitor to Nintendo and Sega until they were. You know, same reason I think BMW should be making the biggest and best headphones in the world. I mean, if you heard today BMW came out with an $800 headphones and they work better than Bose and better than, you know, Beats, and they had that incredibly iconic logo on the circle on the outside, I have a funny feeling people would believe in their engineering capabilities. That brand has permission to make the best headphones in the world.
And the core of that is because the brand, because they built brand, like this kind of
Correct.
Brand, without a sneaker, like things like that.
Yeah, you're watching me do it in real time. I'm building brand, which will give me permission to do anything that feels authentic and I'm capable of executing against.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
I'm in the business of what can be done versus what used to be done.
Yeah.
99% are like, no, BMW makes cars. I'm in the business of BMW can make headphones. PBS and New York Times could become the next generation of great agencies. I'm building one of the most successful current agencies in the world. I ran a liquor store before I entered. I've already done it. How about this? I'm talking in hypothesis, and I'm actually the living example of it. I think we should write an article called "Why Not? Here are the brands that have permission," and maybe we should do like 15, like not predictions, like what ifs. What if BMW competed with Beats, right?
Yeah.
Why can't Nike compete with Gatorade? When I say to you, if Nike came out with a sports drink tomorrow that was delicious, like if I say to you that happens, do you say to yourself, yeah, that actually can happen, like, oh yeah, I can see that. It's one big game of, yeah, I can see that. It's brands that have established something enough to have permission to do something that makes sense within that same target demo, just executed in a different product or service. You know?
What's something that like Apple could do you think, like a big company like that?
Well, I think Apple should make televisions. That's literal, but like, I think Apple could come out with a sneaker that would do well based on its cool. Apple's losing it a little bit, but like 4 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, Apple could have came out with a sneaker and fucking won, in my opinion. Based on it's cool to 16-year-olds, the end.
Man.
Because what they would have done, they were cool so they could enter, and then they innovated, which is their DNA, and then you would have said, oh my God, what are they gonna come out with next? Can you send a thing to the group text? I wanna start a What If Wednesdays. I want to make a post for 7:30. I want somebody on the design team to design a product that doesn't exist in my world that I haven't thought of yet. Oh, I got it. I want to call it What If Wednesdays. I'll write the copy, but I want somebody to create a logo real fast called What If Wednesdays, and I want the first product, to be Bobby Babin's beef jerky. There was a vlog where I made a joke that Tyler Babin should make a beef jerky, and we were gonna call it Bobby, because that's his real name, Bobby Babin's beef jerky. Actually, you know what? Let's start a brand. We should start a brand right now. Right now. Bobby Babin's beef jerky.
Oh my God, it would work.
Of course it would work. I'm involved. Hey guys. I want somebody to design the package for Bobby Babin's beef jerky. I'll write the copy, but every Wednesday going forward, I'm gonna make a What If Wednesday, and we're gonna make up a product every week that we're not making. We're gonna post it, and we're gonna use that as R&D, and something's gonna explode, and then we're gonna actually make it.
That's so cool. So like a product that you could potentially have, like
Yes.
you talked about.
Yes.
Yeah, that's dope. That's really cool. Like no one's like thinking like that. That's really.
This is, look, you're seeing the 2019 version of it, but like literally, bro, this is the conversations I had with friends when I said, let's start emailing people instead of sending direct mail.
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna start a show on this new thing called YouTube. What does that even, you can't imagine how foreign that was to a world that had no videos on the internet.
Right. And the core of that is like you're saying like why
I'm in the business of what if, and yes, and why not, and where's it going, and tomorrow, and 99% of the market is in yesterday. Their entire framework to decision making is predicated on yesterday.
Right.
What's about to happen in America with Cloud Kitchens, which is a startup being built right now by Travis Kalanick, the CEO and founder of Uber. In the next 18 months, 40 of the major cities in America are going to get delivered anything they want within 5 to 7 minutes for free. I couldn't short 7-Eleven more in the next decade. I mean it, unless they're able to execute that capability. Chicago residents in 18 months will have an app that lets them get toothpaste or Oreo cookies or a Mountain Dew in 5 to 7 minutes for free. They've built contemporary kitchens and C-stores underground, in warehouses, in parking garages. It is unbelievable how much disruption is coming. The only thing that's going to be left is the brand, the affinity that the consumer has for the brand, and that's it. Just like in entertainment, if you're following along of what's going on with Disney and ESPN and all these things, we went through 80 years where the pipes had the advantage. Now the pipes are dumb and the IP has the advantage. Our only move in that environment is to create such affinity and brand with the actual end consumer that when mom says, hey Alexa, send me some cookies, she's saying, hey Alexa, send me some Chips Ahoy. The toll booth that voice-activated AI devices are gonna have in buying product 7 years from today is gonna scare this collective room in a way that they can't even imagine, because humans don't care about privacy, they care about convenience. And the convenience is coming at a scale that we've never seen. The only thing left will be brand. And so, I couldn't be more passionate, as you can imagine, in making brand the forefront, but if you're yelling at people where they can't hear you, you're creating nothing. And so that is my passion, that is my framework, that's how I see it. And for me, that is only about the consumer, not about any other variable, because that is the only thing that ever matters. Thank you.
The future of media that you see? Like, how will people connect with
you know what's funny?
brand?
I don't, that's not what I do well.
Oh, okay.
It's not that I forecast, I observe the current and create capabilities. So for me, one thing that is current enough that is maybe feels a little more in the future was why I talked about voice. I think audio is exploding. It's why podcast consumption's up. It's the voice devices. It's the passive nature of the consumption of audio that doesn't restrict you from multitasking, that gives it a very nice next decade. Audio. But back to being an ingredient company, just for 2 seconds, if you're looking to acquire new clients to work with, I highly recommend you become versed in what's going on LinkedIn.
I recently have.
It's very powerful. Good.
Yeah, no,
to keep doing it.
It's
thought
amazing.
leadership, the whole nine.
The feedback
it's there.
is unbelievable.
And it will be lead gen.
Nice to meet you.
Take care, James.
So I'm going to be talking next about consumer insights.
Yes.
And of course, it's all about relevance, right?
Yes.
It's all about relevance. So I want to just ask you about, you talk a lot about crafting messages for relevance.
Yes.
But for my job is uncovering.
I understand.
Right, relevance. And is
I think both matter.
Okay.
Tremendously. Mm-hmm. Where I think we're advancing the conversation is creating output for the purpose of uncovering insights. So much of the content I put out in the world as a human to your son, and what I do for brands, is actually to then get the feedback to do smarter work. We lived in a world where strategy worked, and then you had a singular kind of insight, and then you had an interpretation by a creative, and you kind of like threw this big brick on the world. My point of view is a bunch of little stones. Oh, wait a minute, they're resonating to this. The reason I can get to so much truth, and I'm getting goosebumps, is because I'm putting so much out there, and then I'm qualitatively reading what they're reacting to.
Right. And you are reacting to their, like you're...
It's an infinite loop. It's an infinite loop. I actually don't love coming across motivational. It's that I realized as I was talking about tactics, the biggest reason people don't do what they want to do is insecurity, which then led me to why are they insecure, which then led into parenting, you know, and so all of a sudden I've become as a personality, an output of my thesis, which is I started with tactics, couldn't understand why people logically understood that I was right about what they needed to do, but they weren't willing to do it, and then built insights to what led me to more macro.
Why aren't they able to?
Correct, which is their mom made them feel insecure. I mean, it gets that's why they're not posting
too much about
other people's opinions.
Right.
My passion and why I started VaynerMedia is to actually buy nostalgic brands, which is why I haven't started. Otherwise, I would have.
Buy them and sell them, or
to buy them and refurbish them.
So
So my big thing is I want, ultimately in its most basic form, I want to build the reverse of private equity in a private equity machine, meaning when I buy a brand, Tootsie Rolls or Mug Root Beer at Pepsi, I want, that's a good one. When I buy Mug, like everybody buys brands from big food companies as PE firms, orphan brands, and they cut costs and they create operational efficiencies and then they flip it. I want to triple revenue in 48 months. That's the machine, that's the whole point. Oh shit. Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.